All right, good evening, everyone. Just wanted to jump in here tonight and give you guys a brief update before I go on a little camping vacation on what we've done so far with the map and everything that still has to come. So we're getting there, going through doing some changes on some of the errors and stuff that are on the server, but we're going to be logging into the server. You can see I got up here the new screenshot for the map, and it's now Pleasant Valley version 3. The graphics and the everything are there and ready to go. Oh, we got a little bit of nighttime coming. We should probably fast forward, but I'll let Dan take care of that if he hears me. If not, we'll play in the dark a little. Let's see if I can find my vehicle here. Hey, Cresta166 or Crestal66. Yeah, Dan, what's up?
You're not on the game page at all. You're showing that green screen inside Dead
All right.
Nets.
Yep, I got it. This thing's going crazy lately. All right, so we are here. I'll show you the login screen that I was talking about and you didn't see in a little bit near the end of the show, if we remember. But yeah, I've been so busy I can't even keep my head straight. But I got about an hour, and I wanted to give you guys an update before I go off camping this week on what we did in the past week, just so you can see what's going on. Dan's going to fast forward time through the night here so we get some daylight to show you these things. And it's coming along good. This is on the server. We're playing on the server with the new factories. They actually went through and built them all with no major issues. We have a few issues that I will discuss a little bit later. One that I don't think we haven't found a way to alleviate it, but it only happens in multiplayer, and I'll let you guys know what that is. The pallet spawning. For some reason, the scripts are only allowing the first 50 products on the list to spawn pallets when we're on server. It doesn't do that when we're on single players, so it's not an issue for you guys who play in single player, but on servers, there's probably going to be some factories that you'll have to use a box truck unless we can figure it out between now and then. But right now, it's been racking my brain. I can't see why it's not working. You could still pick stuff up with the box truck. It's getting dark out here, and yeah, it's getting there. So most of the stuff we discussed already, but the server tests have been going well. Every time I log in, those guys got like 5 or 6 more things for me to do. But we'll show you a little bit of what we've got going on once it gets light out again, which won't be too long. How's everybody doing tonight? Uh, like I said, I'm going away this week doing some camping with my daughter, and so there's not going to be much going on this week. But once we get back next week, I'll be jumping in. There's 3 main projects that I have to do before the map is released, and some. I will say that some of the stuff that we had to do ended up going real easy. So I was able to get more done than I expected. But then again, I'm kind of running a little bit behind on release with the. It all depends on these last 3 main things and how fast I can do them. Those are updating these 4 warehouses that are down here with the new product categories. So we're going to have to put them so all the pallets stack up like in the original one here. And this one has the sides, but they're all broken into categories now. So each of these, they're all going to have to be rearranged, and there's a lot of pallets that have to be brought in, and so much going on that it will be quite a job to do this. I'm expecting that to take a few days. Thank you for the host there, DoorJJ, and thank you for the new followers. Uh, so that is one of, and probably the most time-consuming and main thing is going through. You'll notice with the new layout that there's actually more silos. We have a foods 2 section, and we have, boy, going in debt. We're getting out of debt. We're going. All right. And we've got a produce drop off. So everything's been rearranged. There's four main silos. We just got to get the products put in there. Secondly, we've rearranged because of all the extra products, and I'll show you the menu now. Warehouses. Issue number two that we did was all the train stations are combined. So you have a train station, goods, grains, all the grains. The only thing added in there was the peanut shells. I put them with that because there are no actual pallets for the peanut shells. That's pretty much all the stuff that doesn't have pallets. Uh, the main train stations have a capacity now of 20 million. So all the stations are linked together. Whatever train station you go to, you will have the products available at the other train stations. And there's the only place you'll be able to respawn pallets is down here at the South Station. So I wanted to cover that. And there's 20 million capacity on the grains. Second, we have the goods silo. This one is actually going to be 20 million. He already did this on our server. I have to do it. Uh, there's going to be 20 million on the goods silo because that has in it sand and lime and concrete and those types of things that you might need 20 million capacity on. And most of the other stuff that was already in the game is there. The only additions to that menu, I stuck in a couple things, I think. Wax in the candles and the fire logs, and those ended up in the train station goods category. I really had to try to balance the categories so that the list is not super long for each one of them because there are so many new products that yeah, we had to create a new drop off point. So the third one is just train station foods, and this is pretty much the foods that were there originally that you guys have now, but we added the honey in as well. So there's honey storage up here. But because this is all palleted products, we decided to limit that storage to 5 million. If you get 5 million in pallets, it's time to sell stuff off. So 5 million for the palleted goods in the foods category number 1. And lastly, oh, actually, there's two more. Foods category 2 contains all the new food products, all the soups, the stuff from the meat packing place, and the dressings, and the Heinz ketchup, and the Planters peanut stuff. Anything basically that's a food that's new is going to be in this category, foods 2. The only exception is because we wanted to keep the menus relatively short. In the produce section, train station produce will be all your apples, strawberries, all your greenhouse items, all your tree items, and the Dole packing plant items. So your shredded cabbage, shredded lettuce, shredded carrot, and those also have a capacity of 5 million. So that's a rundown on the way the train stations work. And you will not get an update to the map before I go because it's probably going to take another 2 weeks roughly when I get back, which will be, I'll be back to doing work on the map on next Monday. So yeah, there's just too much stuff. I'd have to do it all tonight. I'm leaving tomorrow. And there's no way. Like I said, it's hours upon hours, a few days here and there. So we'll get it done though. It's I just wanted to get on here to show you guys it's moving forward. And another thing we did, we moved the silos here and we staggered them so you could get through with your big trains for each of the, and they're labeled as well. So loading goods, and we staggered them. They are directly in front of the building that they supply, but you'll be able to fill up your products at these silos right here for the main station. If you're using your tippers, just drive underneath. I'm not going to do that. Like I said, I'm short on time, so we're just going to give you a quick preview tonight and hope you guys come back in another 2 weeks, I think it's going to be. But I slid the, whatchamacallit here, the bale building just a little bit further away from the, I pushed it back a little to give us some more room to get into the silos, so they're not a major change there. The biggest changes were, which was a big, great thing, is we got the silos done. Train stations, however, look a little bit different. Hey, Deaf Gamer, how about a way to get cotton out of the field? Use the cotton can be gotten. You just need to use the cotton header, which goes on the uh, yeah, it goes on the forage harvester. There's already a way. That's been in the map forever. So let's jump to the train stations right here, if I can find it, and show you the silos on the train station. Now, a lot of people had issues in the past of being in too many triggers. I'm going to reconfigure the trains a little bit different, but you'll notice now as we pull up, we have the silos separated quite well. And as you're pulling into a train station, you'll find them before and after the train station, the additional silos. This will make it so you guys can get, uh, yeah, actually, I'll discuss the milk triggers, what we did there in a little bit, but so we did spread out the silos coming in. So here we have the produce silo, they're labeled on the produce drop off and pickup right there. As you go down the hill into this train station, we have the goods silo. So you can definitely not, some of them are overlapping just because of space, but it's a little bit easier to get centered, especially because of different train types. You can't pick up all the products on both of those silos, so you can easily get it underneath. And as we go around on this track, you will see the other ones. So there's now, I had to spread them out because there's just four of them on each, or five, I think it's five on each railroad. So that's the main grain pickup. That's always on the warehouse, or the train station has the main grain pickup spot. And then on this railroad up here, and I put these little buildings next to all the little silos so they're kind of well labeled. Food drop off and pickup is right here for foods, and then up the hill a little ways we will have the second one right up here for foods too. So as you're approaching and leaving the station, you'll run into all the silos for each of the trains. Foods drop off two and foods loading is up here. It makes it easier so people aren't in multiple triggers. You didn't get the cotton header, check the folder that's PV Rivers, the original one, look for it. It's in there, one of those, clicking on that icon down below. You will find the headers. It's been there. I'm sure it's still there. I never removed it, but it's probably in one of the subfolders because it was one of the update folders that's off of that main link. So we're going to head over to the other train stations and we will check out those and just give you an idea what the map looks like now. It's a little bit different, but I think it's going to be a lot easier for you guys dropping stuff off. And I really had no choice. With the five different silos, they would have been really, you thought it was a problem in version 2 with 3 silos there. With 5 of them on top of each other, it was ridiculous. But I didn't have enough real room to spread out. I didn't want the locations to be all over the map for dropping off the products, because then it'd be hard to find. You'd be going around the whole loop until you got used to them. So we put them close to the stations as you're pulling in, and you'll be able to get them. Hey, Biz WV. So that is one of the big things that we wanted to get done, the train silos. Um, while we're heading over there, I'll show you factories. All factories have been cut in. Now they've already upgraded. This is the server. All the factory speeds that they produce actually fell in line pretty well. The grain mills, we have a couple adjustments on non, some of the ones that aren't in this menu, like the fabric script one, the fruit pallets keeping up with the new things. That I'm going to take care of so that we can at least get the initial products. The greenhouses need to be boosted up how fast they produce in order to keep all the factories running even at the at the slow speeds and as you upgrade them. But there are 5 levels to upgrading each factory, and as you upgrade them, your production level will increase. Non-critical factories for the building process and non-critical factories for secondary products. Say, like, what I mean by non-critical is we have the factories that are required to build factories, the steel mill, the cement factory, and those factories will produce at level 2 the same way they did. So upgrading once, you'll have the same speed you do now. All of those will just upgrading once. They'll be a little bit slower, not too much, but you'll be definitely up to the same speed, if not a little bit more, when you hit level 2 on those factories. If you go to level 3, you'll get more, and you'll actually, if you upgrade them all the way to level 5, you'll be able to produce like crazy, and you'll be able to get everything done relatively quickly. So they can produce far faster and far much more if you invest the upgrades. Hey KW, cotton header is called lavender header. Yes, it's the same header package. So with the train, with that's the critical products. When I call secondary products are the products like flours. They have to go into bread. So anything that is made at a factory that goes to another factory, those speeds are better than slow. So they'll still start off a little bit slower, but you'll still be able to get upgrade them 5 times to get them back to more than you could ever possibly need. So hopefully, as we keep fiddling around with the numbers, but yeah, they still have a pretty high production rate, and you can actually get them to produce faster than they did if they're upgraded all 5 times as well. As far as the rest of the factories, and here we go into the second train station, I wanted to show you this one as well. You'll see the same way. They're spread out around as we go in. You have the silos here. So as you go around each of them, you won't be in the duplicate triggers, and we're just heading in. So we got a few of them in front, and each one's labeled on the ground there, so you'll be able to figure out which ones they are. That's the goods drop off and loading. And these additional silos in the back are labeled as well, which we never really did that before. So you'll be able to easily tell where to drop off your foods in front of this silo, and you can load them right here. And we put 4 of them in, and then the grains is always inside the original spot where it was before. So you got your goods and all of those 4 silos. The 5th one is in here, grain drop off there, and your grain pickup on that silo right there. And the arrows are probably going to come out. And then the train station just goes right around with all the other 5. 4 were before this. The last one is as you're leaving. So it's around the train stations. Once you get close, you'll be able to offload, and it makes it so much easier not being in the multiple triggers. I think you guys will actually prefer this over the way it was. And that is train station 2. Let me go to another train and see if we can get the other one. So we were talking about something before I got to the train station. Can't remember what it was. Let me think for a minute. Bum, bum, bum. Well, we were going through. Yeah, I am totally lost. All right, we're going to be pulling up to the next day. Oh yeah, so the factory production levels. All the third level factories are factories that produce final goods that are only for resale. Those have been slowed down considerably, and the 5 stages are roughly, if when you first buy them, and I did this on purpose, when you first own them before upgrading, they will run, if you fill them up, it will produce a load of goods to take about 10 days. So If you're a single player and you're tired of filling up the beer factory and only doing the beer factory like I was, or you have that issue where you just can't keep everything running because you fill it up one day, you come back the next day, it's empty, so you either move on to another factory or fill it up again. I wanted to alleviate that problem and make it easier. So on level one, you fill up a factory, you can do 10 in game days, and it will take them 10 days to use up all the products. I do got to move these green arrows out once I'm done labeling everything. Uh, when you upgrade it to level 2, it drops to about 7 days, all the way up to uh, level 3, I think, is 5 days. Level 4, it takes 3 days. And level 1, it'll take less than a day, which is where it was now. So if you have it fully upgraded, you'd have to fill that factory every day. This way it lets you guys decide if you want something a little bit faster and sell something a little bit faster, you can upgrade it all the way. So with that, you'll be able to adjust every factory pretty much the way you guys want it to run. Those are the way the train stations are set up. And like I said, project number one is going to be we getting these uh, when I get back, getting all these warehouses up to speed with all the products, fixing the little bugs that have come up. I got 5 of them on my list. They should take no time at all. And then project 2 is going to be sell points, all the sell points. That's going to be getting all the products rearranged. The goal here is to there's so many products on the map that I'm going to try to concentrate. We're going to have grains, several of the grains be sellable at certain grain points, which are already on the map. But when it comes to those additional products, like for instance, the peanut shells, where the only use for them is to go into making the fire logs up at the bee place, we're not going to let you sell peanut shells directly. You'll be producing them to use at that factory or storing them up. And products that are end of the line products will be what we'll be concentrating on selling. So flours are coming out of the menu. All the wheat, oat, and rye flour will not be able to be sold directly at a sell point. If you're making it, it's to go into a factory that needs the flours to produce the end products. That way we can cut down on the number without increasing ridiculously large menus at the sell points, and there may be a couple here and there that make sense, like delivering cheese to a place that would normally sell cheese. I don't know yet, but Big Daddy's in the house. Yeah, you like my hair, blue hair. I dyed my hair blue this week. I admit it. Yep, I'm a little bit crazy that way. We're going to a youth camp with my daughter, and we got Team Blue. It's a competition type camp where teams each get a color and they compete against each other. So, I'm going along to as one of the, I guess, group leaders with her, and I'm I just went all in. I dyed my hair blue with the full intention of shaving my head. Although I'm kind of getting used to it. It kind of looks cool. So I'm kind of getting used to the blue hair thing. It, I got rid of all the gray, and it makes me look a little bit younger and a little bit more foolish, which I don't mind. So, yeah, blue hair? What the heck? I go all in for the team. So, over here at these sell points is where you'll be upgrading to the 5 levels. Like I discussed, we don't have to show you that, but if blue looks good on you, at least you have hair to dye. Yeah, exactly. One of the other leaders said, I dyed my hair blue, but I don't have any. So yeah, hey, it's just for fun. The kids will get a kick out of it. That's what it's about for me. All right. What else did we do? So we've got all of the sell points have to be done. We've got all of the. Oh yeah, we got to show you down a couple of little changes. So we really got three main things. The third one is updating the museum with all your donations. So I want to get that's going to be a time-consuming process too. So if you're in the museum or you're supposed to be in the museum, uh, probably have one more week of donations that will make it in there as of before we get it, because I'd like to hopefully finalize this within 2 weeks after I get it back. So we'll be probably early September before it gets out. I'm figuring it may go a little faster, but I'm guessing one more week for donations. I'll save the museum for last uh, after we get back. So 2 weeks technically, not counting this week, and then I have to cut it off because they keep coming in, and I could work on that forever. You guys have been so awesome. So those are the three main things: getting the museum all up to date and getting everything done that I want to do in there. And then it's just knocking out the bugs. And we've got all the new factories. They built them. That test went well. They had no problems building the factories whatsoever. Everything is labeled on the map except for a couple labels I got to make. Just a few. Uh, and it's playing pretty good. So, no real big problems other than those pallets not spawning on server mode past the first 50. So some of the pallets, single player, everything spawned. You guys watched me do it last week. We went around to all those factory, or last time we broadcast, went around to all those factories and spawned all those pallets without any problem. We put it on the server, and we couldn't get past a certain number of them. So I'm coming over here to visit Dan and show you guys a little bit cleaned up greenhouse section, which will give you guys all the room you need. So you can see right across as well, you have a pallet factory. So if you have a forklift over here, you don't need to drive pallets to your greenhouses. You're creating them right across the street. The third one on the east side, this one will probably be used pretty much exclusively for your greenhouses. And we have them stocking up. I left a couple sheds that you could put them in, but the greenhouses are all spaced out much better, much easier to get around. I reduced graphics by combining the barns together and putting the uh, conveyors next to each other for the products so that they I basically was able to pull out so many objects in the additional walls down here that to save the memory that we used for all those little labels on all the factories as we went around, and that it probably balanced out size wise pretty well other than the new factories. So the greenhouses are spaced out. We've got four of them on this side. Hey Dan. Uh, and they're easy to back into. You got another two down here, and they're producing. I moved the displays right onto the buildings so they're not on the walls. You got the display for how much pallets is in there, and on the front of the conveyor you can see how much is ready before it creates the next pallet, or it is in the pallet that's being created. Once it gets to 5,000, it'll be full and it'll move on down. So the displays are not on extra objects. It's pretty much all compact, but yet very wide open for you guys to dump off the water and the stuff like that and see what's going on, working in progress, all that stuff. So you got the four of them back there. And on the top side over here, you have the other two side by side. So it's a pretty easy layout to drive around in, which is, I think, pretty much what you guys wanted. There's no more light posts in the middle. You got a nice field. You could bring a forklift over here, a nice area. You can easily pick up and drop off at the conveyors and get all your vegetables, whatever you need. And there's an entrance on either side. I removed all the moving gates. That was a pretty big help as well. So you can get in and out, except for one moving gate I left was the back door. You can get out this one and cross over if you want, and that one opens and closes still. But I just found it, and I think a lot of people found that this was so hard to maneuver in. Well, it's definitely not anymore. Dan says he loves it, and if Dan's approval means that you guys won't run into anything either. So that is. I'm trying to think if we forgot anything else. Everything's working good. I've got a couple silos. Oh, farm silos. We have some adjustments to make still yet, but I think Lars might have done it on our server. He's good at doing adjustments just before I get to him, which has been a big help. He knows what had to be done. So we'll check out the farm silos. Woo! Like Johnson Farm. All right, yeah, he's got it all. They're all going to be 3 million capacity at each farm. I had the fertilizer and liquid fertilizer a little bit lower than that. He's already updated it. I'll get it in my copy of the map. So 3 million of each product at the farm, as you can see, for each of the farms. Uh, there's a couple things that I did not get to on this version, but they're already done in the map that they're just not on our server. And that is up here on this farm, we have added a second bunker silo next to this one. So this one will have two bunker silos for silage as well. The first one here is moved over. You'll have enough room to drive down this side, but it is moved over probably to about here. And I expanded the concrete. And then we put a second one in with a space between it on this side. Still leaves you enough room to drive between them and around them. But this farm will have two as well. I'm going to leave one only on the other Roberts farm, but the other three farms will have two each out here. Roberts is close enough to the cow farm, which has another one if you ever needed to. But it's just both of those farms are pretty compact. So we're getting another bunker silo up there. Hey, Zero for Paul. Yeah, it will be coming in the next up to the server when I get back. I'll fix their errors, test them out. That bunker silo will be there. He'll have to make sure that thing's empty when we do it, or he'll lose the product because they're moving, and we'll get that update. So, other than that, it's the usual stuff. We've had some trigger issues. I've got the particle effects now on the peanuts over at the peanut factory. Just the little. Oh yeah, we got to go to dairy truck. Let's see. Can I find one? I could always buy one, but Dan, if you're listening, get me a truck with a dairy container so I could show them how the cows work now with the cow milk trigger silo. And I will explain the issue that I found and why I decided to do it the way I did and how it's going to work. And I think people will appreciate it quite a bit, but it does work a little differently. So the question is, did he hear me? Lars, thank you so much for that
Thanks for all the good work.
huge donation, $100. Thank you, Lars, so much. I really appreciate it. Wow, that is awesome. Thank you. I can't say thank you to you guys enough for everything you've done. I wish I had more time. I have to pack. I have to do laundry. I have to do that. So I'm not. I'm gonna. I really just wanted to not let you guys be hanging for another week. Maybe we'll get on. I found that when I was doing the show with you guys, trying to design with all the this stuff running, and also being in the editor. Hey, there he is. What's up, Dan?
Use the number one truck number one, and back into this garage I'm at.
10-4. Thanks, sir. All right, so I found what I was doing. I didn't want to. Yeah, it's very hard to work in the editor with all this other software running. It just slows me down. If I'm doing any projects, or I might give you some mini updates during the week when I get back, just to keep you guys informed on how we're doing, or maybe even just throw a show up after I complete each thing. Like when the warehouse is done, we'll do an hour show or whatever and show you uh, the warehouse complete, and then we'll get the. But yeah, I'm gonna be gone. I know I didn't get to. My daughter's here. I didn't wanna, so I haven't been able to broadcast much. We've been doing a lot of fun stuff. It's been crazy. I need to get rid of the water. Is this just water? Liquid transport. Uh, where can I dump water?
There are several places on the way that you should be able to dump that water.
Yeah, greenhouses maybe, or the trees. Yeah, we'll try the trees. Or down here at the liquid fertilizer. Yep, I'll try the trees or liquid fertilizer down.
Trees take it.
Okie dokie. All right. So let's see. Deadeye GCS. I found a bug and tried to help farm NPC field, and it has cotton in the field and does not know what to use, aka game NPC. Also, the AR equipment does not work with the help. Yeah, the AR equipment will not work. Uh, Depending on which equipment you use. Docket, thank you so much for
Let's
the.
start a donation war, haha.
Thank you so much there, Doc. You know I always appreciate it for the $100 donation. You're awesome, as usual. Can't wait to get this out to you. Stop by on the server if you can. You've got the files. You've been here. Give it a try if you want. Take a look around. But my goal is to get it finished up when we get it for you. Uh, when we're ready, as soon as possible. Let's see if we have any room for the water here, so I can get to the dairy. Yeah, we do. So yeah, it's been a crazy month. Got a birthday coming up too. On next Sunday's my birthday, so I'm actually back before then, but I'm gonna be partying it up on Sunday with my blue hair, and back to work on Monday when I get back. So we'll be gone for the week, and get back into it. Three main things. I look at it that way. I break it down. I got three main goals. Along the way, other little things might change, but the three main goals are those three: the sell points and prices. That's number one. Number two is the warehouse, main warehouse, getting it all stacked up the way it's supposed to be. And number three is the museum. Once we got those three done, they've already got most of this stuff tested. We've found most of the issues. There may be issues that come along in those processes, but when we get to these issues, there's probably been a dozen of them uh, altogether, but they're usually so minor that they're easy to knock off, and it'd be up, this trigger's too high, that trigger's too low. This thing's piles floating in the air type thing or whatever, but for the most part, it's looking good and it's playing well. We're on the server. I do need to do, we haven't even optimized yet. I'll do one more optimization and cut down the file size. Right now it stands with all the additional factories and everything. It's still at this point below what can go onto a very game server, which is 1.7 gigs. It's at 1.62, but it'll shrink a little bit once we compress everything down and do our optimizations. So it's running good. They haven't had just those few minor issues, and we'll take care of them. But we're going over to the cows, and I'll explain to you the cow farm with what's going on there and how it's going to work now. We're going to load up some milk for wherever we want to take it, bring it over to Borden Dairy and park it out there or whatever. But it's actually a bug in the script set. So those of you guys that have, I know somebody mentioned he can point to maps that have it working just fine. That's not going to help unless it's running the Kavkaz script and it's working just fine. Because, oh, I just passed it. Yeah, I'm losing my mind here. Because it's the script that is causing the milk trigger problem. So it's not going to be a problem anymore. I realized this because I had the issue on the Planters peanut shells. Basically, some of these factories have a single product that dispenses, so I have it set to as a silo trigger. and means that if you pull under it, hit the R, it fills it automatically. That's what's making some of the triggers very sensitive. So what I did was I switched them, and the trigger easily comes up. You could see it there. I got the start filling trigger very easily whenever you do, and the area is much bigger. But what you're going to get when you hit the R is you're going to get this pop up. You're going to just have to click to load the milk. So I basically set it the same way that the factory triggers are. Normally this list would have 3 products in it, but I'll show you here. I click milk, it's going to load the milk. Makes the trigger so much less sensitive and much easier to hit. So takes care of the problem with just one little step, but yeah, you're so used to probably selecting stuff at the factories. I don't think anybody will really care about that. I hope not, anyway. Uh, so this peanut shells over at Planters Peanuts is done the same way. So you'll be able to get your peanut shells by going under the silo. You'll pop up, it'll just say peanut shells. You select it, and it'll start filling. And the peanut shells now have animation. I fixed some bugs with flashing textures that were over at Planners. Uh, most things are done. It's just those last 3 big things and anything else that we might try to squeeze in between. So hang in there, bear with me. Progress is being made. Testing has been, these guys knew this was coming. They loaded up their silos. We converted our save game over. It will have issues depending on how you, I'm trying to sneak over the hills. I do this all the time. I'm not paying attention to where I'm going, so I make my roads, and sometimes I don't make them exactly where I plan on it. But I'm going to try to go up over the hill here, take a shortcut. But we, the best bet is just if you wanted to keep all the stuff you have, put it in your silos, copy your silos in your save game XML, and then continue from there. That's what they did. They rebought the fields. They saved up enough money to rebuy the fields. Because if you use the new save game files, we tried copying the complete vehicle XML, and we had about maybe 10 to 12 errors, mostly on the gates that were used to be at the, where am I going? The gates that used to be at the greenhouses have indexes in the save game XML. And when we remove the gates, if you're using a current save game file, vehicle XML copied over directly, it will actually read it, but you'll get an error for every gate, which is 8 of them right there. There's the factory that was up north that was just to sell the fruits and vegetables at, that little building with the scale across, that does not exist anymore. So you will not be able to, that throws an error for one of the triggers that was there. And there's one other one that that escapes me what it was right now. So we're going to drop this off here with unload if we have room. So yeah, technically it works, but you're going to have to troubleshoot it to get the errors out of your log if you did it that way. Plus you'd have to create a new save game. Because this is version 3, you would create a new save game and copy the files over here, except for, it's a little bit of a process, but if you had done any of that work before, the fruit density and the cultivator density files need to be the new ones so that the factories don't all have grass coming through it. Somebody asked me about the trigger. I think it was Doc. If it's the milk trigger, yeah, that's what we just went over. And Deadeye says, yep, the AR equipment does not give you all the parts to do the jobs when you do field missions like cotton. We are aware of that. It can't pick it up. I should remove, and I can remove cotton from enable missions so that it will just not give it to you. But the ones that require AR equipment, depending on which version of the AR equipment we had, it I think blocked at one point. It is kind of tricky with the if you're using the AR spreaders. they'll pop up in the mission category. I got to figure out how that's done, but we'll take a look into that stuff. Definitely take a look. I'll just bring you around. We got about 10 minutes left before I get out of here with this update. I know it's been a quick show and I got through pretty much everything, but I can show you what things, as I drive across these fields, what things the new factories look like, and as a work in progress, everything's running. These guys have had some issues that oh, yeah, there. See, that factory's built. All the factories are built. And clip distances are worked on a little bit so that you're not overloading. A lot of nice new things. Factories on our map are running relatively slow. Maybe I could bring up one. He's got most of them up to, all of them I think he's set up to stage 2 production. So as we look here, we're going to go up to, for instance, Sam Adams. If you watch how fast the Boston Lager and those are producing real time here, you'll notice the numbers are ticking down and ticking up on these so much slower uh, than normally. That is because it's only at a speed of 1800. That is the base speed. This is set at 10 days working time, 10 in game full days, and that factory will fill up with 250,000 liters like it is here. And you'll still have product left, but something might run out like the rye did here. Some of the products might be left. So you just go back. As you upgrade it, it will cut it down to 7 days, then 5 days, then 3 days, then 1 day working time. So all those factories like Sam Adams are base speed. Let's see, but you notice the speed on National Gypsum at 4,500 because it's a crucial product. Glue is at 5,400 because they upgraded it once already, and Smirnoff's one of the base ones, so it's running slow. That way, it gets you time to figure out which ones you want to run more and that stuff. Let's see. The other thing, as we're talking about the shops, we have plenty of sell points, but we have 34 new products, and we're going to add them in. Coffee's a direct sell product. We have the soups and all those products that have to go in. So we're going to take things like the wheat, oat, and rye flour, and you're not going to be able to sell those off directly, except for at you'll be selling the breads to the bakery. Basically, you're not going to be selling the flours directly anywhere. You'll be selling other items, but all the of these extra apples and cherries, if you're going to be, they'll be replaced with the bagged stuff. So we'll be selling bagged apple slices at that place, just so these menus don't get out of control with each of the products. So things like the lettuce, plums, and pears, you'll start getting the shredded cabbage and the shredded lettuce in here rather than the red cabbage and the lettuce. So there will be replacements, but there won't be direct sell-offs for those products anymore. And you can see they've been cranking away. We've got lots of pallets of stuff over here cranked out at the dressing factory. Ken's salad dressing piling up. And that's one of the new factories. Looking good, working good. We'll go around the back. This is one of those. Sometimes these guys give me things that they want changed and I just don't feel like doing it. Great demands are set up. We'll see how they work. They're really controlled by the script set, other than a few modifications we can make. So there might be some you can't do. They all should be easier with the trains all being connected. That was one of the reasons why we did it. If you have a product that has to go to a certain place on the train rail, rather than having to drive and transfer trains, you can just pull into a train station and load it. Now, those of you guys with terrible driving skills and big long trains will have to be careful around this corner, because this one kind of bugged Dan a little bit, but that gate can't be widened anymore, and you can swing pretty good in here. But this one's up and running with all the products. You could see some in the back there that's stocked up. This is where we stock them up, what's being used, and on the other side is what's being produced. And you can load the train by pulling it right in here, or any of these shredded products or sliced or bagged up vegetables all right there. You can see. I think I like the way that one came out. Just a little tricky to get in and out the back door here, but it works. And the factories are all built with their layout. I like that it opened up this corner to the map that used to just be forest area. Just showing what SenseFan, what we have done so far. We've done some testing over the past. These guys got most things figured out. They got a few little things that I need to fix. There's a log file error that isn't a little thing, but it's fixed on this version that I have to change the version of the map to Pleasant Valley version 3. So here we have, they made some mustard. The label says it's mustard. In order to not confuse mustard with mustard seed, uh, if you look at, oh, we can't do it there. Let's go to our Heinz factory. Just so you know, it's labeled Heinz ketchup and Heinz mustard, because mustard is different than Heinz ketchup and Heinz mustard. How is that producing? It's got 1800, so that's going really slow as well. So that's the difference. We had to give them different names so you know the difference between the two. And then you have your ketchup producing down here, is popping up in your barn. Lots of ketchup. And the pallets in these buildings are purposely put to the back and no further out than the 2 rows that are here now. And you can walk right through them. So if you wanted to use the front of these buildings to park vehicles in temporarily, you could do that. Now that I think of it, the only other change would be all of the garages except for the ones at the quarry you'd no longer have to purchase. They're all opened up because we wanted to save room in this menu. But you could see all the factories have been unlocked here because they got 227 total rating. And the only garages left in this list are the gravel pit garage and the quarry garage. Everything else is purchased and upgradable whenever you upgrade them. The speed increases. The prices have been lowered. Whoa, I guess I can't. What is this? Get off that menu. Okay, there we go. The prices for upgrading the factories has decreased, so it's not as expensive. As you purchase upgraded factories, the cost to run them goes up, but it's not as drastic as it was before. So running your factories, the prices, it doesn't cost as much per day even as you increase. And the hourlies on most of the factories costs of running are pretty low compared to where they were too. So if you're in the beginning and you buy a couple factories, they won't run you dry. That was one of the things I wanted to fix. I got to put the fuel markers on. I've already done it, but it's not on this version. We're going to keep the fuel factory not buildable. Holy mackerel, there goes the following train with the bot, I believe, with all of those new ones. So they just keep on coming. So as we go around, we are almost there. And I am going to do one more thing. As I exit off here, I'll bring this back over to Dan's garage. Better than leaving it in the road. We'll swing by. Where is this place? Where am I? Oh, he's over there. Guess I took a turn a little bit early. Um, One of the things that's not on here, but after a while it annoyed me. When the factory's building, yeah, I removed these gates on this silk soy milk plant so you don't run into them when they're invisible. I know some of you guys seen that broadcast, and I've decided, you know what? We'll just take them out. That way people won't complain what's not there. You know, some people will be saying, I'm hitting an object and I can't see it. If you're driving real fast, you could hit them. So I took them out in the next update that these guys get. It'll be that way, and when you guys get it. And let's see, we'll bring this up to his place. I'm gonna exit out. I'll show you the picture I've decided to use for the map, and it might change because, god darn it, the cows weren't in the field when I took the picture. I love the picture, but we'll show you, and then we'll leave you guys. So I'll boot up a single player here once we exit out, and give you guys an idea of what, if I can get as nice of a picture with, and there it is, but we'll run this, and I'm not concerned about the equipment because it's just stuff that's on our server that's not on here. If I can get this picture with the cows actually around the lake where they usually are out there, then that's what I'm gonna try to get the same picture with the cows there, but it has to be a nice sunny day like it was. That is what's across the street and just down about a half a mile from my house. So that's the view I have when I go on my walks in the morning. And I thought it came out pretty cool. That's a cow farm. I just wanted to make it a little bit different. And I kind of like adding my personal touch of not searching for pictures on the internet, but going around the farmland that's around here to see what I can find and put a little bit of hometown into my maps too. So little bit different look on the startup screen. With that, I'm going to let you guys go so I can get ready for my trip. Thank you so much, Lars, Monson, and Doc, for your $100 donations. And that's going to be great. I was literally going to go to camp this week with like $20 spending money. Everything's paid for, but you know the kids like to eat at the snack bar and do stuff like that. So I'm sure I'll be able to access that when I get there, and that'll be a big help. So I thank you so much for that. And we'll see you guys when we get back. We'll be on the final stretch of getting this finished up. So we'll catch you on the other side. Have a great week, and we'll be back in about a week on Monday. Have a great evening, everybody.